Good morning, everybody. Matt Moda here to give you my favorite MLB home run predictions for today. We're talking Saturday, June 28th. Happy Saturday, everybody. The Dawn Report is back in your life. I'm going to have my 3 favorite home run picks for you guys to lock in for today, and then my 6 leans on top of those 3. So for those of you that just want to lock in my 3 favorite and don't want to spray the board, the beginning of the video is for you. For those of you that want to lock in everybody that I am locking in and you do want to spray the board, the entire video is for you. Although for those of you that just want the first 3, would appreciate it if you could watch to the end. That would help me out a ton. But before we get into all that, let's do a recap from yesterday, which ended up being a pretty frustrating day overall. We did get 2 guys to hit a home run. Thank you to Alec Burleson and Joe Adele. So in terms of total losses, down about a quarter unit yesterday in the grand scheme of things is not terrible. What was really frustrating was going heavy on the Braves. They not only did they not hit a home run, they got shut out. I also went minorly heavy on the Padres with 2 guys. They also basically got shut out. They didn't hit a home run. They only scored 1 run. So between those 5, 0 for 5. That was tough. The Braves one really was frustrating because there was a 2.5-hour rain delay. And the starting pitcher for the Phillies, who my entire analysis was based on, he ended up not starting. So they kind of had a bullpen arm go in who pitched really well. Now, maybe the Braves bats were dead on arrival from the beginning. The Braves also were down like 11 runs in the first 3 innings of the game. So Ronald Acuna Jr., he only got 1 at-bat. The other guys did. Riley and Olsen did get a normal day of at-bats, but the game was just dead on arrival. It was a tough one. Regardless, down a quarter unit in the grand scheme of things is not terrible considering on the entire year. That brings our total results. We are down a little bit less than 5 units on the year. We have been really, really good over the last week, so I am confident that that's going to continue, that today's going to be very good. ROI, slightly in the red, about 5% negative ROI. And then if you're just putting 1 unit on every single home run, you're basically breaking even the way the odds shook out and all that stuff. But again, I'm very confident in the 3 plays that we have for today. Before we do, obviously, we got to talk about the weather. And there are some really, really good weather games today. Obviously, Great American Ballpark from the stadium is amazing. And then from a weather perspective is also very, very good. So it's nice when there's a combination of the 2. Oriole Park is also solid. Yankee Stadium is solid. The Guardians Stadium is solid. And then a couple ones down here actually don't have a play in any of these 3 green games at the bottom. But I am, like I said, I am very confident in the plays that we have for today. And I do like the fact that there is some agreement, similar to yesterday, granted, not that yesterday was a great day, but some agreement in terms of what weather games are good on Weather Edge as well. Athletics Yankees, they agree, is good. The Orioles one, they have slightly in the red, but it's 90s with slight winds blowing out. So I'm not really scared off of that one. They have the Padres as a positive weather game, and then the Guardians as well. So that's kind of everything that we have. So we can get right into it. So again, I'm going to start with my favorite 3. So if you just want to lock in 3 and you don't want to play anything else, I would play these for a quarter unit, these 3. The first one is going to be Manny Machado. We are taking him to hit a home run. Now, we're getting pretty stinky odds on Manny, admittedly, at plus 285 is the best offered price at FanDuel. But there are a couple of things in favor of Manny. Obviously, best weather game of the day. Any ball hit in the air with a little bit of power is going to clear a fence. Now, the Padres had a gross day at the plate yesterday. Manny himself was not terrible. He had 2 hard hits, so at least he was able to do something. The biggest thing here is Andrew Abbott is pitching for the Reds, who's a good pitcher. Andrew Abbott is definitely a good pitcher. But he's a lefty, and Manny Machado absolutely annihilates left-handed pitching. He's hit 8 home runs on the year against lefties in 98 plate appearances to only 5 against righties in 244 plate appearances. It's a dramatic difference between a righty and a lefty for Manny Machado. And you go down to his, all his numbers across the board are better against lefties, but you look specifically at ISO rate, which is the best way to just look at, it literally stands for isolated power. Slugging minus your average, 314 against lefties, 144 against righties. Again, it's a huge difference between righties and lefties for Manny Machado. We were on him earlier this week because he was against a left-handed hitter, and Manny's been hitting the ball well in general, so it's not like we're just taking him because it's against a lefty. He's also been hitting well. And the starting pitcher, Andrew Abbott, he is not a terrible pitcher. Abbott is not bad, but he can get had a little bit from righties. A home run every 30 at-bats is generally pretty good, especially for somebody pitching at the Red Stadium. The biggest issue for him is his four-seam fastball, which Manny hits the four-seamer from a lefty very well. Going back to a little bit of a bigger sample size here, against four-seam fastballs, barrel rate of 10%, hard hit rate of 85% against the four-seamer, and he hits the ball in the air a decent amount as well. That's against the four-seamer from a lefty. And you look at Andrew Abbott's numbers, pretty decent across the board. This is not necessarily looking at a very juicy pitching matchup. Instead, just looking at a hitter that really hits lefties well. And then if you look at the last 5 starts for Andrew Abbott, it's a little bit better for us. A home run every 22 at-bats in his last 5 starts. So that's why I like Manny Machado, weather plus lefty matchup. That is play number 1. That is play number 1 in my one of my 3 favorites. The second of my 3 favorites, for very similar logic, is Paul Goldschmidt. We're taking him to hit a home run. He is also kind of stinky odds at plus 350 at FanDuel for Goldschmidt to hit a home run. Very, very similar logic. It's Paul Goldschmidt against a lefty. He has hit 8 home runs on the year, 5 against lefties in 91 plate appearances, only 3 against righties in 226 plate appearances. So again, dramatic difference between him, righties versus lefties. We look at the same number here, ISO rate, 299 against lefties, 086 against righties. The 086 really is a disgusting number against righties. That's basically me swinging against a right-handed pitcher. But against the lefties, anything above 250 is considered excellent by FanGraph standards. 299 is very, very good. Goldschmidt hitting the ball decently well recently. Nothing amazing. His hard hits aren't going to put him in the Hall of Fame, but he's not ice cold, and that's kind of okay as long as you're not completely ice cold. The lefty he is going up against is a much, much worse pitcher than Andrew Abbott. This one does not really need a sell at all. He has allowed 7 home runs to righties in his last 92 at-bats. A home run every 13 at-bats is disgusting. And you look at every pitch can get hit from JP Sears. 4-seam fastball, changeup, sweeper. The worst one is the slider, but they can all get it. And you look at these numbers across the board. Fly ball rate at 40% is disgusting. Line drive rate at 30% is disgusting, especially when taking into account that high of a fly ball rate. Hard hit rate, high. Barrel rate, high. All these numbers red across the board for JP Sears. And you generally want to take a lefty at Yankee Stadium, but in a situation like this, going with Paul Goldschmidt against the left-handed pitcher, I feel really good about. So that is our second play of the video, is Paul Goldschmidt to hit a home run. And then again, my third of my top 3 favorites. I'm going right back to Ketel Marte. I know I went with him yesterday and he did not come through, but look at the odds on him to hit a home run. Plus 600 for Ketel Marte to hit a home run. That's an insane price, especially when you line shop that. FanDuel, 400. Caesars, 380. Fanatics, 430. DK, 450. The only one that's close is ESPN Bet at plus 550. Ballpark Pal has it at just below plus 500. So it is positive EV according to that. And, Ketel Marte, yes, he did not hit a home run. He had 2 hard hits yesterday. He had a fine day at the plate. And FanGraphs hasn't updated. Maybe let me refresh this. Hasn't updated for yesterday yet. So they're not showing the 27th. He had 2 hard hits, no barrels yesterday. But look at him prior to that. 4 hard hits, 3 barrels. 2 hard hits, 2 barrels. And then nothing in this game. He pinch hit. 3 hard hits, 1 barrel. 2 hard hits, 1 barrel. 1 hard hit, 1 barrel. He is destroying the baseball, having a ton of success at the plate. And the pitcher he's going up against, Sandy Alcantara, not a good pitcher anymore. He was once, I think he won Cy Young. We like to say was once an ace, no longer the case. And you look at Sandy this year, last 5 weeks, he's admittedly been better. He's only allowed 1 home run in the last 44 at-bats to lefties over his last 5 starts. His numbers across the board, they're slightly below average, slightly above average on some of them. The fly ball rate is very high, which is not what you are looking for. The line drive rate is high, which is not what you are looking for. The barrel rate is average, but the hard hit rate is low. So he has been better recently, but you look at him on the year, and again, a lot of this was closer to the beginning of the year. A lot of these numbers are worse. I mean, the barrel rate is a couple percentage points higher. The hard hit rate is 12 percentage points higher. And it's a home run allowed every 22 at-bats to left-handed hitters. So, again, he's been better recently. Granted, he just came off of a tough start against the Phillies where he allowed 2 home runs. So those were the home runs that he allowed recently, was in that Phillies game. But a lot of the ancillary numbers don't necessarily show somebody that's fully back. And the way Ketel Marte is hitting the baseball, we took him in a tough matchup yesterday and it didn't come through. But, He's got another good matchup today, and he continued to hit the ball hard. And that's kind of the most important thing when a player's on a roll like this. Just because they go one game without hitting a home run doesn't mean you want to completely swear them off. So I feel good, and I'm going back to Ketel Marte to hit a home run. He is, again, and the biggest thing I should say here is the price. Plus 300, I probably wouldn't take it. Plus 600, it's a little too high for my blood, and I think that's a really good value. So if you just want to take my three favorite, those are the three: Machado, Goldschmidt, and Ketel Marte. I am locking in everybody that I'm giving out and putting 0.1 units on each, but I know that some people just prefer the lighter card, and I completely understand. So hopefully this is the best of both worlds. I'm able to appease the people that just want the three while also giving out everybody else that I am playing. So in terms of everybody else, the first one is I am going back to Brendan Donovan, taking him to hit a home run. He did not come through yesterday. He had 4 hard hits. He was the only player with more than 3. Arenado had 3. He had 4 hard hits. Not all of them but some of them were. Not all of them are great. Some of them were. He had a 104.7. Granted, it was a ground out. He had a fly out, 100 miles an hour off the bat, 338 feet. He had another one that was 98.6, and then this ground out of 95 doesn't really count. So it's really 3 hard hits, 2 above 100 miles an hour, 1 hit in the air. His hard hits recently are very, very good. He's been impressive, and he's got a decent matchup against the Slade Ciccone. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Sounds like an Italian mob boss. But so it's kind of funny. Slade Ciccone, in his first couple starts, was a home run machine. Home run, 3 home runs, home run. In his last 3, he hasn't given up a single home run. He had an excellent start here in Cincinnati, which I took a bunch of Reds against him. I remember that vividly. But he hasn't given up a home run. He also hasn't been amazing, especially his last start. He gave up 14 hard hits in his last start. Now, none of them was barreled, and none of them cleared a fence, but 14 hard hits is very, very bad. That is not a good number. Hard hit rate of 63%. And then the previous 2 gave up 1 barrel, which is generally pretty decent, especially considering he struck out a bunch of batters. But I'm not quite ready to just completely swear this guy off and say that he's not anybody that can allow a home run. He's also not somebody that I want to spray the board against. So I kind of figured just go with Brendan Donovan, who had 4 hard hits yesterday, 2 above 100 miles an hour, 1 put in the air. Pretty impressive numbers for somebody that has been hitting the ball very hard. He's got decent stats against the pitch mix of Slade Ciccone as well, which is why this is a plus 10 extreme advantage in favor of the batter. We also are getting a good price on him at plus 600, another positive EV play according to Ballpark Pal, which is why I went there. The next one is in the same game. It's Daniel Schneemann. We're taking him to hit a home run, who is best offered at plus 540 at FanDuel. So Schneemann did not have a good day at the plate yesterday. He had 0 hard hits. Again, this hasn't updated for the 27th. But prior to that, look at all these barrels. 2 hard hits, 1 barrel. And then a couple gross games in a row, one where he pinch hit. But then barrel, 2 hard hits, no barrels, and then 2 hard hits, 2 barrels. That was 2 games ago. Yesterday, the Guardians just got rocked by Sonny Gray. But he's got a really good matchup against Miles Mikolas today. And the biggest thing for Mikolas is that four-seam fastball is what gets hit hard. And the slider, it's both of them. And Schneemann has very good numbers against that pitch mix. You look at plate IQ here just to kind of look at the pitch mix. Or this is going to decide to not work, so we can't look at plate IQ. But yeah, here we go. So we're looking at plate IQ. Let me zoom in a little bit. So Mikolas, we know that he throws the four-seam fastball the majority of the time. You look at barrel rate against righties on the year. Schneemann does lead the Guardians in barrel rate against righties, which is important, 16.5%. The last 30 days, pretty good, 17% barrel rate. The four-seam fastball, barrel rate of 22%, hard hit rate of 77%. Really, really good numbers against the four-seamer, which is what gets hit hard by Mikolas. Another one that gets hit hard is the slider, which he doesn't have a ton of data against, but the ones that he has seen, 25% barrel rate is good. Granted, the hard hit rate is low. So basically, every time he's made contact, it's been a hard hit, but he struck out a lot. So the slider isn't quite as good, but the four-seam fastball is really good. And the weather in this one, I already mentioned, it's one of the better weather games of the day for home runs. So I like this one. It's a good matchup and a batter that is semi-hot if you take out yesterday. So I was 4 and 5. And then the last 4, back to the Reds game, I'm taking Elly De La Cruz to hit a home run. 2 things for him is Ellie's done a really good job barreling the ball up recently. We're looking at the Reds, and we're looking at the last 2 weeks. Barrels, Ellie's got 7, which is a very impressive number. And you look at the last week, he's got 4, which is a very impressive number. Now, Ellie didn't hit a home run yesterday, but he had 2 hard hits, and both of them were hit incredibly hard. So they weren't quite barreled up because the launch angle wasn't there, but at least they were hit hard. And the biggest thing here is the pitcher, Randy Vasquez, is absolutely a dong guy to lefties. He's allowed 7 home runs on the year to lefties, home run every 20 at-bats or so. Against righties, every 30 at-bats, which is still bad. I mean, allowing 12 home runs and a home run every 25 at-bats is pretty bad. You look at the last 5 starts for Vasquez, and it's a lot worse, home run every 16 at-bats, and it's about the same from a righty and a lefty. But I liked Ellie based on the way he's been hitting. I mean, he's got the most barrels on the Reds by far. Granted, Spencer Steer hit 3 home runs yesterday, so when this updates for yesterday, the numbers on Steer are going to look a lot better, but they're also still going to look good for Ellie De La Cruz. And then again, the Red Stadium, best home run venue of the day by far, so I feel good about going for that. The next 2 are both in the Rays game, and they're both on the Rays. It's Jonathan Aranda and it's Brandon Lau. Now, I know both of these guys hit a home run last night. I totally get it. Brandon Lau's actually hit one in 2 straight games. But the biggest thing, there's 2 of them. The pitching matchup is phenomenal. And look at what they did at the plate yesterday. Aranda, 4 hard hits. Now, Lau only had 2, but again, one of them was a home run. He had 3 hits and 5 at-bats. So he did have a good day at the plate. And look at the EV logs, like Aranda, 108 miles per hour off the bat, 433-foot home run. And then Lau, 106.6 miles an hour off the bat, had a 101.7 off the bat. That was a home run. Jonathan Aranda had 106. Like, you kind of see that these guys hit the ball really hard. Another 99.8 flyout for Aranda. But the biggest thing for both of them is the pitching matchup against Zach Eflin is about as good as it gets for a left-handed hitter. In his last 5 starts, look at these numbers. Home run every 9 at-bats, essentially, every 9 at-bats. Barrel rate, 9.76%. Hard hit rate, 46%. Line drive plus fly ball rate, 56%. Those numbers are terrible. He's got a wide variety of pitches that he throws. They all get sent to the moon, especially the cutter. Now, from a pitch mix perspective for these 2, it's not amazing. Like, you look at their stats against the cutter specifically, which is the hardest hit for him. And you look at the last month, it's really good for, actually, sorry, I was thinking about something else. It's really good for both of them. They both hit the cutter really, really well. Brandon Lau hits it really hard, can't quite get it in the air. Aranda can do both. You look at the last 2 months against the cutter, and it's really good numbers for both of them. So I was thinking of a different situation. So even though they both went yard yesterday, I could not pass them up. Especially, I want to look at the Rays, especially considering they're both really well priced according to Ballpark Pal. They're both positive EV. 400 at FanDuel for Aranda, 410 for Brandon Lau. Really good. And then Ellie, I forgot to give you his price. A little bit stinky, admittedly, at plus 310. But because the pitcher, because the venue, you kind of have to accept that. But yeah, the 2 guys on the Rays, I absolutely love, Brandon Lau and Jonathan Aranda. And then the last one is Agustin Ramirez. Weird name, probably haven't heard of him. Been hitting the ball very, very well and has an excellent matchup against Brandon Pfaadt. So you look at the Marlins, you look at how they have been hitting over the last week. Barrels, Stowers is good with 4 barrels in the last week, but Augustin's right behind him with 3. You look at the last 2 weeks, Augustin's got 5, 18 hard hits, 2 healthy numbers. Now Sanchez is a little bit higher than him in terms of barrels and a little bit higher in terms of hard hits, but I like Augustin a little bit better in this one. The pitching matchup is against Brandon Pfaadt, who is an absolute dong machine. You look at him recently, he's allowed a home run every 21 at-bats, but it's a lot worse against, not a lot worse, it's worse against righties, every 17.3 at-bats. The biggest issue for him, his top 2 pitches, the four-seam fastball and the sinker, in terms of volume, that makes up over 60% of his pitch mix. And Agustin Ramirez has good numbers against especially the four-seam fastball. He got 13% barrel rate, 60% hard hit rate, 32% fly ball rate. The sinker, he hits really hard. He just can't quite lift it. Especially, I think recently his numbers against the sinker were better. I guess this is what I was thinking of, where the pitch mix isn't perfect, but he has just been doing a really good job of barreling the ball up and hitting it hard. And the biggest thing here is the four-seam fastball. And Fogg's an absolute dong machine. Those are his last 5 starts. You look at the entire year, and home run every 18 at-bats to righties, every 21 at-bats to lefties. He's allowed 16 home runs on the year. And again, you just look at all these pitches. They all get crushed. It's not like he's got one. They all get crushed. And then against righties, it's I think I was thinking of the sweeper, which he doesn't throw as much, probably because it got nuked, but he doesn't throw it as much. But the other 2 still get crushed. So, and the price on this on Augustin was really good. It was another plus EV play on Ballpark Pal, 600 at Bet365, 488 on Ballpark Pal. And honestly, a lot of the guys on the Marlins were plus EV. So if you really wanted to just spray the board with Marlins, Jesus Sanchez, you're getting a good price. Kyle Stowers, you're getting a good price. Connor Norby, Otto Lopez in the thousands for them is honestly pretty good. If you wanted to just take all 4, and if one of them hits a home run, you're going to be profitable. That's honestly not a terrible strategy. But I'm just going with my guy, Augustin Ramirez. And that's all we got. So it's 3 or 9 home run picks for you guys. 2 lucky in, depending on what you want to do. The 3 favorites are Manny Machado, Paul Goldschmidt, and Ketel Marte. If you wanted to spray the board with all of them, it would be Brandon Donovan and Daniel Schneemann, and then Manny Machado, Ellie De La Cruz, Brandon Lau, Jonathan Aranda, Paul Goldschmidt, and then in the Marlins game, Ketel Marte and Augustin Ramirez. Appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Make sure to bet responsibly. Appreciate you guys for watching, and have a good one.